The free Excel course that you're about to watch is just a small part of Microsoft Office full course bundle. So if you want to also master Microsoft Word and Microsoft PowerPoint with my teaching style and also be able to gain a certificate of completion for the course you're watching, you can feel free to tap the first link in the description right now and join us over there in a fraction of cost. Also mentionable that this course is brought up to you by the Takeoff College, the smartest alternative currently available to the traditional education. With all that being said, I'm very excited to get started, so let's go. Hey everyone, we are getting started with one of the most requested and most wanted courses inside the Takeoff College, which is nothing but the Microsoft Excel course. So let's jump right into it, getting started with the introduction to Microsoft Excel and getting to know what it actually is. So Microsoft Excel was first released in 1985 with the Microsoft Office family. As I've talked about it and I've mentioned it before in the Word and PowerPoint courses of the Takeoff College as well, Microsoft Excel is one of the core products, one of the three core products to the Microsoft Office family. And if we consider this Office thing a family, Excel can be considered as one of its childs. A lot of people believe that it may be the smartest child or something like that. And yes, that can be considered as a true thing. So Excel is more of a professional one in between these three options that we have. Word and PowerPoint are more commonly used tools, while Excel is also known as a professional like accounting tool and things like that. And we are going to go through it completely throughout this course that we are in. So Excel is a spreadsheet editor. What spreadsheet is a computer application, as you see, for computation, organization, and analysis and storage of data in endless forms of tables. And that is basically what we do with Microsoft Excel. So the primary usage of Excel is storing data, and as well as storing that data, Excel provides us with plenty of amazing options when it comes to organizing and analysis inside that data. And we are going to learn it completely inside this course. So in order to get Excel before anything, you can always come to the official Microsoft website. And as you see here, we have Microsoft Excel. It has a sign up for free option. And it also provides us with plans and pricing for Microsoft Excel, which is free, as you see. We can use Microsoft 365 Personal or Family. It also has special kind of pricings and plans for businesses that can be used and can be installed through. So after sign upping right here for free, it will provide you with a file or something like that you can use that file in order to install Microsoft Excel on your computer the right way. So this is actually the correct way that you can get it, and you can have it through the Microsoft official website. And after downloading it and installing it, which is the process that we skip today, because it is very easy, and it has nothing to go through. Afterwards, you will have the icon of the software, as you see, something like this, and you can jump straight into it by double clicking and opening it up. And this is what we are getting started with. So as you see over here, we have plenty of different sections. This is the first thing that you are probably going to face when you open the software up. So here we have plenty of options for creating a new project. As you see, it can either be a blank workbook or from the presets that Excel provides us with, which are used in many cases, and we are going to go through them in the next lessons, which are more kind of project-based lessons, but not in this lesson. In this lesson, we are going through the essentials. So here we have blank workbook, as you see. Here we have an area for your previously and recent project, which you have previously worked on or created or edited, and you will be able to access them through here. Yours may be empty as you are just getting started with the Microsoft Excel. And over here we have this options. I mention it in all the Office courses that we've had, so I've mentioned it in Word and PowerPoint courses as well. Over here in general, you can access Office theme, which is, as you can see, set to colorful. I just wanted to say that if it's set on use system setting, or white, something like this, or black, if you do not feel something like this, you see, the dark mode, I love it actually, by the way. If you do not feel comfortable with it and you want to have the exact color sets that we are having in this course and in these videos, you can always access the options throughout this button over here, and in General tab come to Office theme and set it to colorful, which is going to be the case that we are using inside this course. So in order to create your first ever Excel project, your first ever spreadsheet, all you need to do is that you need to come and click on this blank workbook button, and afterwards, as you see, we are headed towards this complicated sounding and very professional sounding dashboard that Excel provides us with. And this is the thing that you are going to learn in this lesson. And after this lesson, you are going to master the essential parts of it. So over here, as you see, the main creator and the main element of our projects and our works here is these small squares that you see, these rectangles, sorry, which are called cells. And these cells are creating an endless table. As you see, I'm scrolling and it is not ending. It is generating endless, rows and columns for me. So if I go this way, you'll see the same, that it will provide us with as many columns as we want. And this endless table is built for us to store and analyze and organize our data. Over here, as you see, this is a sheet itself, which is, as you just saw, an unlimited kind of a table. And this sheet can be plenty, in one Microsoft Excel project, which is called a book. We can have many of these sheets, and they are creatable through this plus button. So if I press it, as you see, I'm having sheet 2 now, and I can navigate between my sheets. So if in sheet number 1, for example, I say the Takeoff college, as you see, if I go to sheet 2, I can't see it, because this is a different setting for itself. If I go back to sheet 1, as you see, I will be able to see it. I can right click on these sheets and I can rename them. For example, my own sheet. I can move or copy them. I can delete them, or I can insert new ones by clicking on this insert option as well. So I right click and delete this sheet. So this is how it basically works. This is how sheets work. And all these sheets are going to create us one book that we are working in right now. So just like any other Microsoft Office software, Microsoft Excel provides us with navigation options in this bottom bar that we have over here. So we have this zoom bar, as you see, which can be used in order to zoom in our spreadsheet. We can do the same also by clicking on these little buttons, this -1 for zooming out and this +1 for zooming in. We also have this number, as you see, this number, which if I click on, I will be able to use it and give it a percentage in order to set my view and its ratio with the reality and, same stuff. We have plenty of viewing options inside Excel. As you see, we are having normal right now. We can use page layout in order to see that if we want to print the data that we have, how will the data be looking like inside those papers that we are using. And using this page break preview, as you see, again, this is for the purpose of printing and stuff, and it will, show us the places that our data and our tables are being separated into multiple pages. And these are the different views that this software provides us with. So after all, I zoom in a little bit, and here, as you see, we are having cells, and we can feel free to fill these cells with our data. So for example, I say name, email, and phone number. So I say James Wilson, James Wilson 96 at gmail.com. These are sample data. Let me even use other emails. For example, I say, James at thetakeoffcollege.com, and a phone number +1. As you see, okay, whatever. I'm adding other data here as well. So I'm saying, for example, we have William Smith, we have Brad Johnson, and these are, for example, the 3 names that we have over here. Three or something like this. So these are, as you see, the data, the sample data that I added over here. And now we want to go through the options that this weird looking software provides us with. So at first, just like what we had with Word and PowerPoint, we have the font section over here inside the Home tab. And through the font section, we can change the font family to our selected parts of our content. So let me tell you this beforehand. Let me mention this. In Word, if you remember, if we wanted to make any changes or change anything inside our document, before that we had to make a selection of that part that we wanted to change. We had this thing and this logic inside Microsoft PowerPoint as well. In Excel, we do have that as well, but here the difference is we can either be selecting a part. For example, I'm saying I'm just making changes on number, on number only. We can either be applying our, formatting and stuff on a certain part of our text, or we can be doing it with cells. So this is very common that we make a selection of a couple cells and we apply our changes to them. So this is how selection basically works in Excel. In Excel, it's not like Word or PowerPoint. We have cell selection inside instead of text selection, So, for example, I select this name, and here, as you see, I am able to choose from different font families that I have installed on my computer. For example, I say this. Let me actually choose this entire row. So this first row of mine, I want to set a couple formattings to. In order to do that, so in order to make a selection of a row or a column, all you need to do is that you need to come on the name of it. So it can either be a column, which is in letters, or a row, which are named by numbers. And you can come on it, and by clicking once, as you see, it will make a selection of the entire column to infinity, as you see. So I do this with this row, and over here, I change the font family like that. I also can change the font size over here using these numbers. I can type a number. So, for example, I want it to be 120. It is possible, there are no limits to the game. But I choose 16, for example. We also have these two buttons. One is for increasing the font size, and one is for decreasing the font size. These two buttons can be used as well when it comes to font size and text formatting. The next options that we have over here, just like what we had with, for example, Microsoft Word, are text formatting options, and they are available here as well. So I can bold a certain cell of mine. So I bold Brad Johnson, for example. And as you see, this is functioning. I can make it italic over here. I can underline a certain text of mine, as you see. And we have border settings, as you see. So this will be applied to the cell or the cells that I'm making a selection of. So for example, I can select this part over here, and inside borders, I can say I want a thick outside border. And as you see, I just did it, I can select this row of this table, for example, and I say I want a left border here. You see? I can say I want a bottom border for this cell, for example. And I am able to add borders to my cells and to my cell selections, just like that, and as easy as that. We also have more borders for more settings and options to those borders that we are creating and setting inside our project. Another thing we have over here is draw border. And using draw border, we will be able to use this pen in order to make drawings, and by clicking and dragging, make those kind of borders that we need to have and we want to have inside our project, just like that. We also have draw border grid, and using this we will be able to, as you see, by clicking and dragging, draw grids, not only borders. So it will make every single cell that we make a selection of having full of the 4 side borders. We have erase border, and using that, as you see, we will be able to erase all the changes that we have created by clicking and dragging and specifying a certain area. And using line color and line style, we will be able to make and specify the styles of those borders that we are adding and using inside our project. The next thing that we have is the cell background color, which can be specified over here. So I can say I want, for example, Brad Johnson to have a yellow background, and I can come here and click on it, and as you see, this is applied. I can choose between colors, and I can use this easy using this fill color option. The next thing that we can change over here using the font section is the font color, and it is changeable using this font color option. So I say, for example, I want James Wilson to be purple, and as you see, I can choose from these colors that I have as options, and this will be applied to my selections. And that's how we change the color to a text inside Microsoft Excel. So after all, I'm headed over to the alignment section. So as you see, we have cells over here, and these cells have alignments. And those alignments, as you can guess, are due to those cells that they are positioned in. So in order to make alignments, we can just select at first, just like how we do it all the time. And over here inside the alignment section, as you see, we have plenty of options. So we can align everything to center, align everything to left, align everything to right, and we can as well vertically align them, as you see, to middle, top, or bottom. We have certain options of giving angles to our text. So as you see, I can make it like this, or vertical text, These are all these styles that I can give my texts and my cells using this align section. Another thing that is settable and possible over here is the setting of our text direction. So it can be either left to right or right to left, and it can be either applied to one single cell or the entire of our project. And in order to do that, so in order to apply this to the entire of our project, first you need to select everything. And if you don't know that, in order to select everything inside Excel, you just need to come here and click on this little thing that we have over here, and this will make a selection of the entire of our spreadsheet. So every single existing thing inside the software. The next thing that we have over here is the styles section. So at first I make a selection of this table that I created, and opening this styles up, as you see, I am able to choose between all those styles and options and presets that this section is providing me with. So I can, for example, select this row of mine and come here and say I want to use this heading style for it. Sorry, these 3 are enough, not the entire row. So I say this heading thing, and for this part, for this bottom part, I say I want you all to look like this. And as you see, these are all settable through this styles section over here. We also have format as table. So this is when I'm selecting as what I just did. So I'm selecting an entire table and I want to format it. And these are the different options that this part provides us with. So in order to do that, I need to make a selection of my table, just like what I did, and choose one of these presets that we have over here. And it asks us that where is the data for your table. So this is how addressing works inside Excel. I am going to go through that completely in this lesson, but let's skip that. What is written here, it's just an address to the entire table that we have. And you can check or uncheck my table has headers, and by clicking OK, as you see, we will be headed forward to the table design, as now we have a table over here. As you see, whatever style that I'm choosing is being mixed with what I had selected over here. So here I set it to normal, and now, as you see, all these table design styles are applicable, all these presets, and I can have my table just like that over here. The next thing that we have over here is the ability to either insert or delete or format our cells. So we can be changing these sizes to our cells through this format inside the cells section. And in order to do that, you need to at first again make a selection of what you want to change and come to format. And here we have row height and column width, and these are all settable over here. So I say 30, for example, and as you see, I can change the height to my row. And now if I align this to middle, as you see, this is more touchable now, these vertical align options. So I can also change my column width. So these numbers I think are in pixels, something like that, you know. And these are all settables using this cells format option. We have delete. So this is about deleting rows, columns, or the entire table. The table columns, the table rows. We can delete the entire sheet. And as you see, it says that this is the only sheet that you have, and that's why you can't delete it. In order to delete it, you need to add another one. So this is basically these that we just talked about. These are sheets, and they are controllable throughout these options as well. If I click delete cells, for example, as you see, this is what will be applied to my project. We also have insert. We can insert cells. We can insert rows. We can insert columns. As you see, we can delete columns. We can delete rows. And these are all happenable through this cells section that we have over here inside the Home tab of Microsoft Excel. The next section that is very important as well, and we want to go through right now, is the clipboard. So this is basically what we have had in the other software of Microsoft Office. So these are the commands that we had: cut, copy, paste, and format painter. Using cut and copy, you will be able to either cut or copy the cells that you have. So here we have cells, not text. not anything like that. We have cells. And for example, I copy this specific cell or a set of cells. So I choose these 2 rows, for example, of my table, and I copy them. And I come over here, I click, and then I will be able to paste. And we have plenty of pasting options, as you see. We have paste, we have formulas, which is about when we are copying and pasting formulas. So what are formulas? You are going to know them in this very lesson that we are in. Just wait for them. But this is about pasting them. We have keep source formatting. We have no borders, keep source column widths, as you see, transpose. We have values. We have values and numbers formatting. And as you see, there are plenty of options that it provides us with. As you see, we even have pasting options for pictures and illustrations specifically. So this is paste. We also have format painter. So I want to write something over here. I say the Takeoff college. And I want this cell of mine look exactly like how this cell does. This name cell, for example. So all I need to do is that I need to first click this name, select it, and choose Format Painter, and then click and make a selection of my destination. And as you see, the Takeoff College will look exactly like this name cell does. And this is Format Painter inside Microsoft Excel. Now let's continue our work by heading over to the Insert tab. So these are important as well. Over here, as you see, we have plenty of insertables that we are going to go through one by one in this course. So the first thing that we can insert inside Microsoft Excel is pictures. And as you see, I can come to Insert tab, and using pictures, my picture can be either placed in a cell or placed over cells. So I start with place in cell, for example. As you see, for all, we have plenty of options. We can insert from this device, stock images, or online pictures. So I use this device and try to choose the logo to our college to be placed inside the cell. So this is, as you see, again, place in cell. And this is, as you see, what we have here. I can come to home and using this cells part, and inside format, I can change the height to the entire row in order to see my logo better, as you see. So this is one option that we have for images. Another option, as you saw, is placing over cells, which will happen like this, as you can see. So I'm having this image of mine placed over the cells that we have. And as you see, as I imported and inserted this image of mine, the picture format tab was opened. So here I have plenty of options available. We have remove background, so we can remove the background of the image that we've imported and make it transparent. For this case, it's not usable because the logo that I've imported is already a transparent logo in the PNG format, as you see, but this is usable over here. We also have corrections, as you see, for brightness, contrast, and those kinds of settings, and I can change them over here. We have plenty of color options, so we can apply different colors to this image that we have over here. We have transparency, which is about the opacity to this image. So if I make it transparent, as you see, I can watch everything behind it, through it, just like that. So back to how it was. We have picture styles, just like what we had with the other Microsoft Office family softwares and members. And we can set picture border over here, the color, the weight, the style, and everything to it. I can set from picture effects, from the plenty of preset picture effects that we have, to my picture. And we also have picture layout, which will allow me to convert my picture into smart objects, as you see. We also have alignment options. We have rotate. We have crop. You know, they are all available over here as well. And this is the picture format tab inside Microsoft Excel. So the next insertable through this insert tab, let me remove these images, is shapes. And as you see, Microsoft Excel provides us with plenty of shapes, and we can choose and use any of them that we choose just by clicking on it and then clicking and dragging, and I will be able to draw that shape inside my project. As you see, the shape format tab is now opened and added. We have shape styles. We have presets for our shape style. We can set different parts of it ourselves, so we can change the shape fill, as you see, the shape outlines and the settings to them, the shape effects that it provides us with. We also have word art styles, which is about the times that we type inside our shape. So how we do that, how we add texts inside our shapes, inside Microsoft Excel, is that we right click on the shape and click edit text. And as you see, we will be able to add texts over here. The Takeoff College. And afterwards, this text is controllable through this word art styles. We can choose between these presets or set the fill, the outline, and the effects of it ourselves. As you see, we also have rotation options here, and that's basically all that we have. And as you see, shapes are flexible inside Microsoft Excel and movable and placeable anywhere that we want them to be. So the next insertable over here is icons. As you see, Microsoft Excel provides us with a wide range of stock images, which are icons basically, and we can choose between them, click insert, and that very specific icon and graphic that we've chosen is now imported to Microsoft Excel, and we will be able to use all these icons inside our project in order to make it look better or look more professional whenever that it is needed. The next insertable that we have over here is 3D models, which are available in all parts of the Office family, as you probably know. If you've been through Word course and PowerPoint course, you know what I mean. And over here, as you see, we can choose between these 3D models that it provides us with, and we can click on insert, and afterwards, as you see, we will have them inside our project. We have 3D model tab opened over here as well, which we can use to choose between different views that it provides us with, or we can use this button over here, as you see, for our 3D rotations in order to make the 3D model the exact thing that we are looking for. The next thing that we can insert is smart arts. So in order to do that, first we click on this Smart Art button over here inside the Insert tab, and we go through all these presets that this provides us with. We need to choose the one that we are seeking to use and click OK. And as you see, Smart Art will be added to our project. So we can change the content to it using this part. So I say step 1, for example, step 2, step 3. And as you see, this is how we can have smart arts inside Microsoft Excel. When we add them, this tab will be opened over here. So we have Smart Art Design, which is about the design and the color setup of this smart art that we've added over here. We can also convert it to another one. So we keep the data and convert this smart art to another one that we are seeking to use. We also have this formatting tab, this format tab over here, as you see, which we can use in order to style different shapes that are used inside our smart art, or different texts that are used and placed inside our smart art, just like that. The last thing that we can add inside illustrations section of the Insert tab is screenshots, which is basically about clipping a part of our screen, and it will provide us with the image that we've clipped inside our project in case that we need it. And as you see, we have a picture format for this screenshot opened over here as well, and that shows us that screenshots that Excel provides us have the exact same settings that an ordinary image can have. So that's basically it. After all, we have charts. So in order to explain that, first I need to come to File, click Open, and open one document that I have over here. I have prepared, which is and contains a sample data that I am going to use to create my chart over here. So here I zoom in a little bit. As you see, we have all this data, which are about regions, products, months, and the sales of those products in those specific months in those specific regions. So I want to convert this data into a chart. In order to do that, first I need to select. So I make a selection of this entire table that I have over here. I specify the areas that I want to use the data from in order to make my chart. And then I come to Insert. And as you see, I can't edit anything over here. Why? I assume because, yes, this has a protected view. I have protected it. We'll talk about these protection stuff later on. But so I make a copy of it and bring it to my actual project. I create a new spreadsheet and I rename it to charts. And then I paste the data over here by pressing Ctrl V. And I make a selection and come to Insert. And here, inside the charts section, we can add our charts over here. So we have recommended charts. What this will do is basically, it's actually very, very cool. So what this will do for us is that it will go through the data that we have selected, and it will detect what kind of a data that we have, and detect that what kind of charts we may be seeking, because as you know, there are plenty of different types to charts. And using this recommended charts button, it will provide us with the recommended kinds of graphs and charts that it will provide us for this specific data with. So we can choose between them, and by clicking OK, as you see, our chart will be created. We can also be choosing the very specific kind of chart that we are seeking ourselves throughout these options that we have. So these drop downs are all about different parts and kinds of charts that we may have over here. And as you can see, we can choose any of them for any kind of specific showcasing purposes. And as easy as that, we can add charts to our project. So after adding them, as you see here, we have a chart title that I can click multiple times on and change it and say the sales report, for example. And afterwards, I can select the chart itself, and as you see, this chart design tab will be opened. So here I have different chart styles that I can select from. We have different sets of colors, as you see. This is very cool. And we also have the format tab for each specific part of our chart. If we want to make very personalized changes into different parts of it, we can use this format tab of charts that we are provided with. So that's basically it. That's all that we have with charts inside Microsoft Excel. Let's imagine that after all, I want to make a print of the entire of this data. So I want to print this table as well as this chart. And in order to do that, we need to set the settings and the setup of our printing activity. And in order to do that, we have this page layout tab over here, as you see. We can use page layout in order to set different themes and preset fonts and colors, as you see, inside our project. And changing our theme will lead us to an overall change in the colors and in the fonts, font sizes and font families that we have over here. We can also change a very specific part to our theme. So we can just change the color, for example, or we can just change the fonts, or we can just use those effects. And if we choose an effect over here, this will be applied to our entire project. The other things that we have over here are the page setup section elements and items. So the first one is margins, which is about the distance and the white space that is going to be placed between the border of the pages that we are printing on and where our content starts. So in order to understand these better, I'd rather switching to page layout view, and then we will be able to see it better. At first, as you see, when I switch, I will have a preview of how my project will look like. So for example, I want to move this chart and place it entirely in that one paper, in that single paper that I have, just like that. And then if I, for example, come here and change the margin and make it wide, you will be able to see that we have changes inside these spaces that we have between the border and the edge of the paper. So these are margins. We also have orientation to our project. It can be either landscape or portrait. Why aren't they being applied? I don't understand, but whatever. So we have orientation as well, as you see. We have size, which is about the size to those papers that we are printing on. It can either be A4, A3, A5. All those international sizes over here are available. We have background, which can be a picture, as you see. So we can browse a file and insert a picture from our computer, and that will be set as the background to our project and our pages. And after all those settings, all you need to do is that you need to come to File and go to Print, and then you will be able to make a print of your spreadsheet as easy as that. And by clicking on Print, it will print you the data that you have selected. A very interesting way of working with data and viewing our data and going through it in order to make conclusions out of it that Excel provides us with. So basically a very interesting view of the data that Excel provides us with is these pivot tables that we have inside Excel. In order to go through them, at first, let me again open up another document that I have over here, a sample data for pivot table, and I click open. As you see, it's not editable, protected view. So I click enable editing, and then I will be able to make my changes over here. So here, basically, as you see, I have a table providing me with information about my customer, my customers, the product category that they purchased, the date, the quantity, the revenue, and everything. And I select this data, and going through the Insert tab, I click Recommended Pivot Tables. So what this button does is basically the same as what recommended charts used to do. As I said, recommended charts goes through the data that we have and somehow detects our kind of, how can I say, desired, styles of charts that we may want for this very specific content that we are selecting. And recommended pivot tables will do basically the same. So we have plenty of presets that it provides us with, which are pretty cool for this specific content that we have over here. And by choosing each of them and clicking OK, you will be familiar with the concept of pivot tables. So this is what we have basically for pivot tables. Over here, as you see, we have row labels, sum of quantity. I can open these up. So it has, for example, this very specific kind of table has categorized the orders of mine with the names. So it has listed the names. I can collapse the names, and under the names, I can say the dates and the quantities of each order. And as you see here, we have sum of quantity. So the data that is not at all even mentioned here are the money that they have spent. So the revenue, as you see, is unchecked. The region, the product category, and order ID. So this is basically a pivot table. So let me delete it and create mine by selecting this data, coming to Insert, and clicking this pivot table from table/range. So first it says that what is your range. If you select your table, it will automatically provide it with the range. But if you want to get familiar with the addressing system that we have over here, as you see, first we have the name of the sheet. Then we have this specific mark. We have $, A, which is about the column. So we have column A, $, 1. So 1 is the number of the row. So A1 is this order ID. This is about addressing. So I'll mention it again a little bit further. But then we have this little thing over here. Then we have again $ G, the column G, and the row 21. So G21. And this is the range. This is the area that we've selected. And by clicking OK, our pivot table, as you see, will be created. So I zoom in a little bit. And as you see here, we have filters, columns, rows, and values. So let me add, for example, let me add dates to rows. So as you see, we have the dates that orders have happened inside those dates. And then I add customer under them. So as you see now, my content is actually, and my data is actually sorted and categorized by the date that each purchase has happened. And as you see, we have no 2 purchases happening in a common date. So this is probably not that much of a smart kind of categorizing, but this is what you can see, you know. So I remove it. I remove this field. I remove this field. Then, for example, I want to add category to my rows. So we have apparel, books, electronics, and home. And then I add customers inside that apparels. So then I will be able to see that, to that product categories, not apparels. And then I will be able to see that for each category, which customers are interested. So this is very, very cool. I actually love pivot tables because, as you can see, they are amazing, you know. They are basically everything that we need in order to analyze the data that we have collected. So this is, as you see, the name of people who are interested in those specific categories. And then I can add something to filters. So I say quantity. And then if I open this up and I say quantity 2, okay, only the customers who have had purchases with the quantity of 2 will be visible. You know what I'm saying? So these are filters. I remove it. We have columns as well as rows. So I say the revenue, for example, you know, and these are added as columns over here. So for example, one thing that I can do is that I can use product category as a column. And as you see now, we have, for example, those customers. And then we have categories. And then we can create a relationship over here. So we can say that I want the order IDs to be listed here, you know. We have values over here as well. So if I change and I move this order ID to this values, as you see, it will create a sum of all order IDs of Alice in this category, for example, you know. So I move it out, I remove it. One thing I can do is that I can bring this revenue inside value, and it will be very cool. So now it is using the info that we gave it. So the info comes from this table, if you remember, right? This is the table. So this is actually going through all the customers that we have had, and is saying that inside each category, how much money has this customer spent overall. So this is sum of revenue. This is the summary of the money that they have spent. Or sum of quantity, for example. So I can bring it over here, just like you see. So for example, as you see, Alice has only bought one apparel kind of a thing, but has bought 11 books, you know, as you see. So pivot tables are basically it. You can play with these. in order to get familiar with them. This is more of a functionality thing and more of an analysis tool rather than a tool of creation or an editing tool. And I love it. As you see, this is a lovely tool inside Microsoft Excel. And just like what you learned, you can go through different kind of sample datas and play with these in order to get familiar with it and in order to learn how to use it appropriately inside your projects.